the WHO and sex education. They've done some nasty things to our sex education programs, not only in the States, but also up here in Canada. So as we talk about that, what have you found with regards to how the WHO is manipulating Canadian children through sex education in the classroom?
Well, thanks, Brad. Well, their latest is that sex education needs to start at birth. And so I actually did a quick PowerPoint. It's very informative. I can share it really quickly. I think your audience would like it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let me just put it up here. There we go. Let me just put on the slideshow. Where am I here? Sorry. Yeah, so, early childhood sexuality, it's all about teaching children from the earliest ages, but this is actually a timeline that comes from my book, Closing the Floodgates. But what we are at, and I'm not going to leave this up long, people can connect with me later, but we're at 2023, and we are full steam ahead with sex ed. And the idea that sex education saves lives, this is all part of this propaganda. So let me go and tell you what the WHO has. They have a message for parents that sexuality starts at birth, and this is their framework. It aims to empower children and young people, remember, children and young people, to develop respectful social, and sexual relationships. Really? Children need to develop sexual relationships? Then it says these skills. What skills? These skills can help children and young people form respectful, healthy relationships with family members, peers, friends, and they can form romantic and sexual partners.
Well, there's something wrong with that, isn't there?
They're talking about teaching sex skills. You have to read this very carefully because it all sounds very sweet. It's not sweet. They're teaching skills to help children have sexual partners.
And perform sexual acts.
Yeah, let me go on. So it lays it out. 0 to 6, they need to teach, parents are to teach the details of biological reproduction. They're going to be instructing parents how to do this, how to teach their children biological reproduction. And it's the details. So 4-year-olds, 0 to 4, to be able to distinguish between consensual and non-consensual sexual interaction. Give our heads a shake, people. This is what is coming down the line. This is what is going to be laid out in Canada. I mean, there's already a lot of this in our schools, but now they're really pushing it right to birth, if you can imagine. So to teach 4-year-olds what is consensual and non-consensual sexual interaction, children need to be protected by their parents from any kind of sexual interaction. They don't need to be taught consent. They need to be taught denial. They just stay away. Parents need to help them put up boundaries.
That's right.
And to develop a positive positive attitude to different sexual lifestyles. What 4-year-old needs to be taught this? This is just pushing, as we talked about, an agenda. Age 6. Expose children to concepts of intercourse.
This is pushing pedophilia.
And pornography.
This is pedophilia,
ahead,
period.
Absolutely. Let me keep going, and then we'll talk about some of this stuff. Here's the gender unicorn. Many people have already seen this. This is already in our schools from kindergarten up. So confuse the children, create this sense of uncertainness within their own biological concept of male and female. And it paves the pathway to what is causing so much of the problems we're seeing now in our young people. I'll keep going.
Yeah.
Who's sex ed? Back to age 9. To reach adult knowledge, age 9, adult knowledge of sex, including the teaching of masturbation and viewing online pornography. I'm telling you, my 9-year-old grandchildren do not need to be viewing online pornography.
No, so let me explain. Let me just jump in here for a quick second because you're right. You shouldn't have to be teaching that to a 9-year-old by any stretch. But in this day and age, there is a positive way to go about teaching your children not to engage in the wrong pornography as well. There is a positive side to this too in that regard, that I would want my kid to understand that this is out there and that you should not be partaking in this. And if you're a proactive parent, you'll get on board with that line of thinking versus being reactive later and going, you can't do that. Don't be looking at that. You've got to be proactive and say, look, there's a lot of nasty people out there. There's a lot of bad stuff on the internet. And, you know, this kind of stuff that I'm going to show you for a brief moment is something that you shouldn't be looking at, son or daughter. And again, it's a brief moment, but it's that image that will make them understand that, yeah, Dad said not to go there, you know?
Well, and I might disagree with you a little bit, not on the first part, because what the WHO is talking about is viewing online pornography. And online pornography isn't an image. It's actual intercourse. It's actual violence. It is face-to-face kind of stuff. And so that's a bit different. What you're talking about is really valid as a parent to educate your child. But what I want to remind parents of is once a child sees this, like a couple having intercourse, they can't unsee it.
No.
And their minds, we are so polluting young children's minds. We have to be very careful.
Do you think the kids are going to want us to go deeper and find more? Or do you think they're going to take that as a warning? It's sort of like the skull and crossbones on a bottle of cleaner under the cupboard, right? You know, like, I saw that, I shouldn't touch that, I should stay away from that. You know, like, there's got to be a way to get your children to understand that, you know, you're going to run into this. They're not going to run into it. They're going to see it at some point. I'd rather have that influence to say, when you see that, turn it off immediately. I'd rather be able to say that to my kid than have my kid want to know more about it. And if they want to know more about it, it's only because I haven't told them enough.
Well, it's two things. It's two things, Brad. One thing, and I mentioned this before, that viewing porn tracks as fast as drugs in the brain. So you have to be extremely careful. It is very, especially with young male. So you have, a 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old. There is such an attraction that is captivated very, very quickly.
Right.
And that's why viewing any porn is dangerous. But and it is so dangerous. It's so addictive. So being careful, talking about porn, even 9-year-olds, if they're in the school system, they already know. They have probably, unfortunately, viewed stuff. You can ask them that first. Have you ever seen any kind of pornography? Do you know what that is? And let them explain to you, because they probably know. Because of the culture we're in is so saturated. But there's two sides, right? So I want to help people understand the two sides. Let me go on with.
Please, by all means, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think we have a great conversation going. Let me just, So teaching of masturbation. How do you teach masturbation? I saw a short video, Brad, and it had a woman across the table from a maybe 10 or 11-year-old girl, and naming, parts of her body, her genitalia, clitoris, those kind of things, and asking the child, do you touch there? Do you play there? What's the sensation there? And where's the parent? This is grooming at the highest level. There is no adult that should be talking to a child about these kind of things. This is absolute grooming. But this is what the WHO is really pushing for. And then by age 12, they want a course to explore political and emotional responses to sex, puberty, and gender. I can't even go there. I mean, this is just so incredible. I think that maybe is the last slide. Oh, no. They have a new need for sexual education that's been triggered by various developments during the past decades. That's what they tell us. that they have to have this. Children have to have this because of the developments. Well, the developments have been all of the LGBT push over the last 4 or 5 decades, and it's not healthy. It's not a healthy development. So there you go. We kind of have all that. Let me stop share.
So okay. So now, look, Bruce Jenner, he's now Caitlyn Jenner.
Yep.
Obviously, he started. She, whatever. They've started to talk about what's really going on, and Caitlyn isn't too happy about the whole situation at the moment. From Target to Budweiser, Bud Light, it doesn't end, right? They've got something to say, and what Caitlyn is saying is that she really wants to, I guess, make it clear that all trans people don't feel the same way about this particular ideology.
Well, that's true, Brad. I agree. But let's talk about Caitlyn for a minute. Caitlyn has made millions and millions of dollars.
Well, that's what I was going to get at, was exactly that, and you're going to bring that up. So that's great, because that's exactly where I was headed with this. Was for Caitlyn to do all this, she had to be paid some money. Is Caitlyn part of the movement in a way that she was paid bazillions of dollars prior to getting the surgery? Because I know Bruce Jenner was pretty well broke prior to him getting that surgery, and now he's probably living in the mansion that he still loves.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. Like, don't spend all these years promoting something that is a biological impossibility and saying, I'm a woman now. It's a biological impossibility. You cannot change your sex. So she has been doing this for years, and now he comes out because he's looking at the writing on the wall going, this is not really good for children. Duh. I'm sorry, I'm being a little bit sarcastic, but
that's okay. You're right.
I don't have a lot of respect, because he's been part of the problem. He's not part of the solution. And for those other transsexual individuals, because they were transsexual before the DSM changed all of the diagnoses, they were not trying to push something on children. They were not trying to push something. They understood that they had some problems, actually, and they wish they didn't.
Some of that entertainment factor was very much entertainment, and it was drag, and drag is different than transgender, and that's something else that hasn't really been, laid out in a way that people can understand. They think that trans means you dress up in women's clothes and you have sex, but drag isn't about having sex necessarily, or even getting off on that whole side of things. It's about dressing up and performance. It's performance art in a sense, and I can understand the performance art. I can understand the big makeup, the big wigs, the big dresses. RuPaul with all of that. I don't think that they're pushing the sex like the WHO is. I think that they're up there being they're overactors.
That's when they're acting for adults. That's when they're acting for adults.
Well, that's what I think too, right?
That's into our liberies.
Keep that away from our kids.
And the other thing, Brad, is that there's a difference. Some of them are not sexualizing this, but many, many are. And the ones performing for children, there's a very nefarious.
There's a deviance there, yeah. So this is an evil movement. This is an evil thing. This has got evil written all over it. And we're seeing satanic symbolism everywhere with a lot of different things right now, from the clothing lines that are in Target being associated to the Church of Satan, to the the videos that Sam Smith puts out, or what's going on at the Super Bowl with Rihanna. It just, the list goes on and on and on, and all of these people have been coerced into portraying themselves in that way. We've seen songs from Katy Perry that sound like good fun songs, have fun in the sun, put your Daisy Dukes on and your bikini top and look at me kind of thing, but there's a real evil to all of this too, and that's the entertainment side of it. And it's transitioned from being drag entertainment to being full on sexualization from zero all the way to you're dead.
Yeah.
You know, what would happen if we started saying, hey, grandma, right? Like, stay away from the kid. Go after the grandmas. Why don't you go teach something else? That's just my thoughts.
You see, it's all about the sexualization of humanity, and it's not just LGBTQ. It's what's come in over the last many years heterosexually as well. Like, there's a lot of stuff it's included in that. So I think you have it right. Like, we've got to just take a step back and take a look at what's happening and start critically, ascertaining, what does this mean?
We've brought up some big companies today: Anheuser-Busch, Target, Ford, Nike is another one who's done the exact same thing. But look, at this really stems from one specific company out of Montreal, Canada, and that is MindGeek.
Yes.
Right? MindGeek. And they are the trouble. They are Pornhub. They are every piece of free pornography that's out there. When you see a website with multiple videos that are all just, you click on the video and it'll take you to a different site, all of that is all connected back to MindGeek in Montreal, Canada. They have no ethics, they have no morals, and they have no scruples. They are embedding themselves into our minds. They are embedding themselves into our kids, and they're doing it in a very, very deviant way, and it has to stop. So while we want to bring the wokeism and the backlash that we started this show out on, and which is what it was all about and meant to be, I think that we need to start paying more attention to the companies that are putting out this material. I think that we need to create a backlash to those organizations. I think that if there was ever something good a hacker could do,
that would be a good one. Yeah.
I might not be allowed to say that, but I'm not the hacker and I'm not the guy who could do it. But I tell you, if you want to do some good for the world and humanity, I would love to see hackers of the world unite and take care of business on that front. I'm surprised guys like Julian Assange or the others that are out there haven't embedded themselves into doing that damage that needs to be done to that particular industry and take it off the planet, because what used to be, keep it in your bedroom has now become take it to your school classrooms, and it's deviant, disturbing, and I'm glad we exposed this today. There's going to be so much more to talk about here on Unmasking the Trans Movement News. We'll try to get to an episode every day if we can. This one's running a little long. We've got into the 30-minute time frame, and that's nothing that we wanted to try to do with our episodes. But this is just the way it goes sometimes. You can start out on one topic, end up on another, and think, okay, 2 topics will take you to about 7 to 10 minutes tops. And, 30 minutes later, here we are. But the information that's been packed into that 30 minutes is something that I think will help parents moving forward. I think that it'll keep the wokeism going in terms of backlash. And I look forward to seeing what the future has to offer. We're living in a very creative and unique time right now that we're seeing a lot of things happening that we've got to get control of as a society and humanity. And I think the other side, when we get done all of this, is going to look a whole lot brighter and a whole lot better than where we are today. Dr. Ann, thank you very much for being here.
You're welcome.
This is Unmasking the Trans Movement News. Thanks for watching. You find us on BitChute as well as Unmasking the Trans Movement. You can find us on BitChute at Unmasking the Trans Movement. Also check out our website at unmaskingthetransmovement.com as well. Till next time, I'm Brad Wilder. We'll see you soon.